Welcome to InQuisient's webinar, Automating Your FITARA Process for Full Control and Visible Success. I'm Randy Ridley, VP of Operations for InQuisient. Providing us insights today is Randy DeWolfson, Chief Innovation Officer and founder of InQuisient. Randy is a leading expert in enterprise data management and enterprise architecture applications for Fortune 500 companies such as Shell Oil and Vanguard, and federal agencies such as the Department of Defense and the intelligence community. With over 30 years of professional experience, he has a proven track record in envisioning, developing, deploying, and improving computer systems. We're excited to provide you information today that will allow you to automate your FITARA processes with an innovative fast-track tool. And now, please meet Randy DeWolfson.
Thank you, Randy. We're going to jump right in and start talking about what this solution is, what the platform is, and a little bit about the company. We generally are facing issues in all large organizations where the decision makers need real information in a timely manner. Specifically, we don't want to have large delays waiting for weeks or months for information to be consolidated and delivered up the chain. We're trying to provide that information on demand at the moment for everybody to make the best decisions possible. The platform we're going to be showing you today has been proven in many large organizations, some commercial, and many in the intelligence communities and across the Department of Defense and in the government. These large organizations have a lot of challenges. Mostly the in-place tracking systems do not exist in a way that allows you to track complicated large data sets, specifically those pertaining to FITARA. We're not linking these data sets together in a real-time way, so your enterprise architecture information and your project portfolios are not connected in terms of the data that they're providing. And so we would like to show you how these data sets can be put into the same platform and allow you to derive value. As far as the solution, we're providing real-time visibility to the data that you've collected in your organization. We're allowing you to satisfy statutory guidance following the law. We're going to give you visibility into your portfolio, up to billions of dollars of tracking, and we're going to link that through dashboards and secured presentations to your the rest of the organizational information so that you can make the best decisions possible. Specifically, people have done rather poorly in the FITARA area. So the government has mandated FITARA to give CIOs the ability to improve the systems in the organizations. And this scorecard came out with the first year's results showing that most people are not doing so well. So we're going to show here how the platform allows you to not only submit your FITARA information, but also supply the supporting information behind it. This is all done on a platform where we leverage the power of an Oracle database and apply a patented set of tools on top that act with all the commonality that we would like in large IT development or deliverables. Specifically, we're taking diverse data sets from things like enterprise architecture tools, maybe System Architect, and we're connecting them to other data sets, maybe from ERPs or from portfolio management tools like Primavera. That data set is now available for visualization across different modules and tools, such as enterprise architecture modules or FITARA or IT portfolios or many others, all accessible through the user population of the organization. Today we're going to focus on FITARA and a little bit about the IT portfolio stack and how those two things go together to supply the information that we're interested in. Everything that we're sending or showing or delivering is 100% web-based, and you have complete flexibility in the information model. So if you do or do not like what's delivered out of the box, we fully anticipate that you will implement your own agency's information model as you see fit. And all of that is delivered at the same time with a highly fine-grained access control so that everybody gets to see.
Randy, can I ask you a question? A lot of people ask me, how long does it take to deploy this technology? It seems heavy-duty. Can you answer that question?
Yep. The technology, the patents on the technology allow us to deliver a solution very, very rapidly. So this is not the high skill set development team, but yet more like a power user or a person who can build a spreadsheet is able to deliver a solution right to the web browser of the organization in very, very short time. And by that I mean days to get a working system.
Well, would you need, would a customer need dedicated personnel from InQuisient to do this? How would they staff this?
Typically, we're happy to support on-site subject matter expertise to get this up and running as quickly as possible. However, that's not at all a requirement. You can have your own in-house staff that's able to do this yourself. But we're very, very happy to jumpstart you.
So are those IT people the high-end, real expensive, or are they kind of mainstream IT professionals? How would you characterize them?
I would say not the highest end. Anybody with a moderate skill level would be successful.
Thank you.
Okay. The next slide shows an example of how the FITARA as a solution is fitting into this example homepage for a given user. Here we're seeing many, many boxes that this organization has decided to implement for their user base. One of which is a FITARA solution, which we can select as a user to drill into more information and see what we're being presented with. In this case, and by the way, this is all very, very configurable. If we do or don't like any of these screens, we have complete flexibility in changing them around. In this case, we're seeing a high-level dashboard of the self-assessment scores that this organization has declared that they're achieving. All of these little boxes represent the FITARA mandate and what you're supposed to be reporting to the government to say whether or not you've achieved higher or lower.
Now, Randy, another question. Now, what you're showing us now, what you're going to show us, is that a particular agency, or is this a demonstration of a generic type solution?
This is not a particular agency's scorecard. This is an example scorecard that every agency is being required to fill out. So this does not reflect any given agency.
Thank you.
However, each agency will have to go through a process very similar to this and drag their scores over to the appropriate columns. We're also following the IAC's guidance on maturity models. So as supporting information to the base FITARA reporting, we are allowing you to fully detail the maturity models and which level of success you're achieving in all of those categories. And that might look something like this, where each of the IAC functions are listed and available for you to maintain the score, either red, yellow, or green, depending how much you've achieved. If you're not sure how much you've achieved, there's a little helper functions where you can click each item and read descriptive information about how you're supposed to be behaving, and then you decide whether or not you're meeting those objectives. All of that information rolls up to the annual submission, which you are required to submit to the OMB every year, ideally you're improving and you need a system of record to maintain this information year after year, and you're describing to the OMB how your efforts are achieving their mandates.
Randy, another question. You mentioned OMB. Have they seen this? They know what's going on here with this solution?
As a matter of fact, they have seen it, and they are very welcoming of a formal pattern to the submission, so that they don't have to deal with spreadsheets and PowerPoints and Word documents. They can have one common way of receiving these submissions.
Thank you.
Each of these same topics that we were dragging into those columns in the first slide is now available in more textual paragraph form, and we can do things like edit and maintain those values of why we're saying what we said for this submission. And now, importantly, this is tying the information from those objectives over to the IT portfolios that we're actually tracking. So we've just switched gears a little bit, and we're now looking at a dashboard, high-level dashboard of projects that are tracking portfolio investments. In this case, we're seeing 31 projects with a budget information and how many milestones we've achieved in the life cycle of those projects, along with a nice bubble chart of all the projects represented on whether they're above or below their funding level and whether they're ahead or behind in their schedule. All of this is clickable for drill down to see more and more and more information. So, for example, if we were to click on that big orange bubble, that would show us more details similar to this.
Randy, let me ask a question about scaling. How many projects could you put in IT Prepare? How many dollars could this system track, theoretically?
Theoretically, it's very unlimited. In practice, we have governmental agencies tracking billions of dollars of their transactions through the system. So the detail level, here we're seeing an example of a project. Now, not in the scope of all projects, but by itself, all of the deliverables in the familiar Gantt chart looking display. I don't quite have the slide to show, but this will also show us the personnel involved with this project, any artifacts, documentation that's been delivered with this project, the budgetary information with this project, specifically obligation rates and how many dollars have been appropriated and dispersed. Very detailed level of information per project. So now, overall, this is representing, I think, the only solution that allows us to tie all of these disparate data sets together and provide that information that's just simply not available anywhere else. It's certainly scalable. It runs on your network. As a matter of fact, it runs on the tightest networks in the government and at all the security levels, got accredited everywhere. It allows you, as you mentioned earlier, Randy, to develop and deliver your solution in a matter of months or even weeks from initial concept to actual operational success.
Well, Randy, a couple of final questions here. I know we'll have some from the audience in just a minute. Are your products on the GSA schedule available? I mean, if people want to move forward with something, is that something they can use?
Absolutely, they are available immediately on the GSA schedule, and I'm sure we can get the contact information to find them directly.
Okay. Yeah. Affordability, let's talk about that. How, without stating anything specifically, can you give us just an idea of what's affordable? This system does so much, it would seem to be quite expensive. What is your answer to that?
I think that we'll find the total cost of ownership is very, very low. What we're really doing is taking advantage of your existing resources, leveraging your database infrastructure in a way that maybe you aren't taking full advantage of already. And, you know, I'd say it's dramatically less expensive than anything else like a custom solution would be.
Thank you, Randy.
All right. So that's it, and please respond with some more questions. We're happy to answer them as we can.